All right, we're all set.
Fantastic, thank you, Mary. Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Andy Spragg. I'm the Governance Services Team Leader, and welcome to this licensing hearing for the 9th of November. Just a quick reminder of the protocol that's in place for virtual meetings. Only speak when invited to by the chair. All participating members are to keep their camera on during the proceedings unless they are having connection issues. If you wish to speak, please use the raise hand function and direct all communications via the chair. Please ensure officers remotely attending that your mics are muted when you're not speaking, and that also goes for those that are here either as applicants or as objectors. If you're referring to a specific page or a picture in a report, refer to the page number or paragraph number. If you are having technical difficulties, please use the chat function in Google Meet to alert the meeting. Please do not use the chat function for putting formal questions to the committee or to make any other comments. Any persistent disruptive behaviour will result in removal from the meeting. Can I have a nomination and seconder for chair, please?
I'd like to nominate Councillor Smith.
Thank you, Councillor Patrick. Great. Welcome everyone to this licensing subcommittee A due to the 9th of November. We've got 2 items on the agenda to look at today. I'm assuming that everyone's has a copy of an agenda there in front of you. So we'll just, we've done the election of chair, so we'll just go through for apologies of absence. I believe Councillor Conway can't make it this evening, so we can note her. Any other apologies for absence?
None received, Chair.
Declarations of interest? No?
None, Chair.
That's good. So just before we start the, we'll go through the hearing procedure, but just before we start that, if we just go around and introduce ourselves very briefly. I'm Councillor Smith, Stoke Newington Ward, and I'm chairing this evening's meeting. Amanda?
Good evening, I'm Amanda North from Legal Services, assisting members, thank you.
Councillor Patrick?
Sorry, Councillor Sharon Patrick, Kings Park Ward.
Suba?
I'm Subhashri Raman, I'm the Principal Licensing Officer.
Fantastic. And Matt?
Yes, hello there and good evening everybody. Matt Bell here, 21st Century Licensing, representing applicant Re and Race Limited in your first item. Thank you.
Brilliant, thank you. And we have Mary, who's our technical operator. And we've got Andrew, who you've met. PC Atkins, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Good evening, everybody. My name is PC Atkins. I'm from the Hackney Police Licensing Unit.
That's brilliant. And Caesar, I see the name Caesar on there. Just introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, hi. My name is Cesar. I'm the DPS and manager of the restaurant in 16 Stoke Newington Road. And
oh, brilliant. Okay, so your item will come after this one. And then we have someone on the phone there, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself. Hello?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm... hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm resident B3 in the 16 Stoke Newington Road application.
Okay, brilliant. Is that how you would like to be referred to, as B3, yeah?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, thank you. Okay, great. So we'll just go through the hearing procedure now. So we've done the appointment of the chair. So step 2 is the licensing officer will outline the report. Then the applicant will present their case. Responsible authorities at step 4 will come in. In this case, it'll be the police, I believe. And then we have other persons, of which there are none in this instance. We'll have a discussion phase at step 6, closing remarks at step 7, final clarification step 8, and then we'll ask everyone to leave who is part of this particular hearing. And then at the end of the whole thing, we'll just we'll deliberate, and you will get an answer tomorrow within 5 working days, whilst we consider the case. So just to start off with then, I would like the licensing officer please to outline the report in regards to item 5 on the agenda, which is by the bottle 32 Wells Street, please.
Thank you, Chair. The licensing service are in receipt of an application for a premises license under Section 17 of the Licensing Act 2003 for By the Bottle, 32 Wells Street, to authorize the supply of alcohol for consumption of the premises, as stated in the agenda. Representations remain from the police. I have nothing else to add. Thank you, Chair.
That's great. Any clarifications there, Councillor Patrick? Happy with that? Yeah. Okay, brilliant. So if the applicant could now present their case in support of their application.
Yes, hello there. Thank you very much indeed. I'm hoping that in front of you, Chair, you have an additional document that wasn't in the bundle, our letter and material, bundle material, which I shall refer to. So
I've read every word of it.
Thank you very much indeed for your attention. In concept, this is a simple application to uplift and replace an existing licensed premises. The existing license is an off license. It runs daily, licensable activities are daily 11 AM till 7 PM. And the applicant in this matter is looking to uplift those hours. You have the application before you. Since the application was originally made, we had some discussion with the police, and our application is formally amended to reflect an 8 AM start to the licensable activities to comply with your own statement of licensing policy. And we've also agreed a condition which hopefully Shan will have passed to you through your licensing team in relation to some wording for a CCTV condition. Both of these matters we came to an agreement with the police, and I understand are uncontested. So the matter we're here today about is because the police seek to impose a condition that, if granted, would prevent the applicant from selling beer and cider with an ABV, alcohol content, of 6.5% or higher. As I understand it, other than this single point, all other parties are content. You've confirmed you have the letter. Thank you very much. That letter and our content provides the bulk of the evidence in relation to this matter. And we know that, and you will have seen that the content of that letter is far more than we could cover in 5 minutes. However, I formally enter that as evidence in our case. In the time I do have available, I can boil that down and summarise the primary issues for you and direct you to the pertinent points in our bundle. Whilst we say the whole bundle is of relevance, it can be reduced down to what I think are 6 key points. Firstly, we say that the request to impose this condition is without apparent objective basis. We've asked for this. PC Atkins has been very helpful, and as I understand it, none has been made available to us. Now, points in our letter, points 7, 8 and 9 specifically talk to that point. Now, secondly, the requested condition appears to be based on a series of questionable assumptions, questionable in our opinion anyway, assumptions, and points 15 to 19 of our cover letter speak to that point. Thirdly, we say that the request is inconsistent and unfair, and points 6, 7 and 8 in our letter provide you the details with these points in the context of the vicinity and the history of the applicant premises. Now, point 4, we say that if the request was acceded to, it would have a disproportionate effect upon the applicant, and point 11 in our letter deals with this. And we also suspect that the proposed condition would contravene some of the principles set out in statutory guidance in paragraph 1.16 that talks about the general principles to be adopted when looking at licence conditions, and that's addressed at point 2 in our letter. Fifthly, there are still questions to be addressed about the legality of imposing this kind of condition, from the perspective of competition law. It's beyond my experience to be able to make any informed comment on that. However, I draw your attention to point 1 in our letter and the accompanying Local Government Association guidance, where on page 22 you'll see a whole section on legal issues that hopefully will inform your thinking on the point. And finally, sixth and finally, we say there is an alternative, and that is the voluntary option. That is well defined, it's well thought through, and it's the concept of reducing the strength. The roadmap to delivering that reducing the strength initiative is thoroughly set out and thought through in the aforementioned LGA guidance, and that's in our bundle at pages 9 to 28. Now, thank you for your attention. I don't want to take any more of your time. I simply ask you that as you listen to the police case for imposing this condition, you bear in mind those 6 points and the content of that bundle, which you have been so good as to give your attention. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Bell, for that. Councillor Patrick, do you have any points of clarification you'd like to raise at this point?
No, thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, so if we move on to step 4 now, that would be the responsible authorities case. So PC Atkins, do you want to come in and sort of counter? I'm not sure if you managed to read some of these documents or.
I had to. Yes, I can't say I've read every single word of them, but I have. Yeah. I've read through them.
Okay, so you get the gist then.
Yeah.
Well, okay, great. Go ahead. You've got 5 minutes.
Okay, I'll keep it as brief as I can, Chair. So since the application has been submitted, police have discussed the application with Mr. Bell and the concerns that I've raised in my police representations regarding the area. And we have agreed on a number of points, but as has been pointed out, it's just this one issue of the 6.5% or the super strength alcohol. The venue is situated on what we describe as a main road. It's made of both commercial and residential premises and is also in close proximity to a number of hostels, some of which these hostels provide housing for those with substance abuse issues, which include alcohol. It has been highlighted there are other licences in the area within this venue do not have this restriction of strength being sold, and it would be commercially unfair to impose this condition on this venue. There are, however, venues which have obtained licence in recent times and in response to issues within this area have accepted this condition. And I believe that there was a point raised within the bundle, please correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Bell, that some of these percentages were inconsistent. I believe them conditions weren't agreed by ourselves. I think some of them were offered or discussed with local authorities. I have spoken with the local police team who have stated that the issue of street drinking is still present within this area. And we do believe that granting a licence that is able to sell super strength alcohol would undermine the licence objectives and there wouldn't be any measures to prevent this persistent issue. We're not saying for 1 minute that street drinkers are the only customers that purchase this alcohol, and there are many alcohols that do go above this strength. But we will ask what measures the applicant intends to put in place in order to combat this. There has been mentioned just now the voluntary scheme of reducing the strength. However, on that point, I will say that it has been said by Mr. Bell that the applicant has stated that it's already got £12,500 worth of stock to go through. So how would this voluntary scheme work? Because that stock will still need to be sold. Would be my opinion on that. So I don't know how that voluntary scheme would work, how that would look, or what measures could be put in place in order to prevent or assist with combating the street drinking in the area. And that's it from myself, Chair.
Okay, great. I mean, I've got a point. Have you got the wording of that condition there on the table?
If you could bear me 2 seconds, Chair, I'll just find it now.
It'd just be useful to read that out to everyone so we can hear it.
Apologies, Chair, my computer is running rather slow at the moment.
Oh, don't worry.
So I've got super strength lagers, beers and or ciders with an ABV above 6.5% or higher should not be sold at the premises, is the suggested word.
So it refers to lagers and ciders essentially, yeah?
Yes.
And who decides what super strength is?
6.5% is a percentage we put forward. I know there are a number of beers that do go above that. I know other premises have 5.5%, and some are 6% in the area. So this is at the higher end of that percentage there. I think the super strength, that's why I think the percentage has been clarified in that, because if it was just super strength, I believe that would just be too vague.
Yeah. Councillor Patrick. You're on mute.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Can I ask questions to the officer? I know the various hostels that are around there. They've come up in my work elsewhere in the council. But there are other off licensing selling stronger alcohol. There's Lidl's across the road that sell, I don't know what they. I do know what they sell. They sell alcohol. There's Iceland who sell alcohol, but also, you know, all right, maybe the street drinkers mainly drink beer and cider, but wine is a lot stronger. Bottle of wine is about 12 or 13%. Spirits are 40%. It seems a very strange thing to say to a business that they can only sell alcohol below a limit when they can sell spirits and wine, which is much stronger. I've seen street people drinking wine, bottle of wine. So I'm not sure that. I'd be interested. Have you got any stats, or have the hostel spoken to you about a problem with their residents obtaining stronger drink? I think there's a hostel opposite, isn't there? And there's one in Wells Street.
Yeah, there's two main hostels there. There's one opposite and then one round the corner, which is the big one. I've not spoken to the hostels. I've spoken with the local police team that deal with antisocial behaviour issues and issues within the area. From my experience, I'm not saying that it is exclusively beers and ciders. Beers and ciders generally are a lot cheaper than wine. That may be a reason that it's a favoured option for some street drinkers. I think to do wine that's a very difficult option. Wine can be price pointed, but generally, my experience, a lot of street drinkers I've dealt with in the past on the borough and in my career as policing have been drinking beers and ciders, the super strength, and I won't name what they are.
So we know what they are.
Any other points, Councillor Patrick?
It does seem like what you're proposing. I can understand why you're proposing it, but unless it was proposed for all the businesses around there, I know there's quite a few off licenses. There's shops that sell alcohol in Mare Street that are off licenses. I don't know if they have any of these conditions. So, I do worry about posing unfair conditions on this particular business.
Yeah, if it helps, Councillor, I believe Mr. Bell has put a number of off licenses within his submission. If I'm correct, I can't remember the page number. He may be able to help with that. Which of these off licenses do have conditions? Sorry.
If I may, Chair, page 40 of our bundle, provided to us by your licensing team, for which I thank them.
Yeah, I can see it, page 40. So there's 8 places on there, 3 of which have restrictions, so 5 that don't.
Yeah, I won't be able to state when them licenses was granted. My concern would be if this was granted without condition restricting. I appreciate Mr. Bell states it would be commercially unfair, and that is the feeling that we give Councillor Patrick. but we are just adding another venue that's selling this alcohol. Is that assisting the issue? And what if they are granted license without this condition? What steps is the licensee going to take in order to try and minimise this?
Okay, we'll sort of move into the discussion phase now. We've sort of done that automatically anyway. So I don't know, Mr. Bell, if you want to come back on that question there that the police just asked.
Well, I wonder if I might ask PC Atkins a couple of questions myself, if that's appropriate, if this is the right time.
Yeah, go ahead. It's perfectly fine, yeah.
Thanks. PC Atkins, thank you for your courtesies in this. And I thoroughly respect your position. You know, I come from a policing background. I understand why you're asking this. I'm a little concerned about the fairness, as you've heard. And you know that I've asked you about whether or not the police have a policy in relation to this. And I think, am I correct in telling me you didn't have a policy?
Yes, that is correct. We don't have a policy across the whole borough. We do look at each licence in the area it is in.
And have you looked at the reducing the strength material in that in the bundle we sent?
I've looked at. I can't say I've read every single word of it, but as I said, I have read through the document as I referenced to before.
Absolutely, and thank you very much for your attention to that. In those pages, Chair, if I may, just on this point, there are a few pages. I think they run to about half a dozen, designing and launching a scheme step by step, and walks you through the evidential processes. Can I ask whether the police have adopted any of those methodologies in coming to their conclusion for this condition today?
Yep, you can ask that question, of course.
Chair, without going through every one of the conditions, I said that the reason I've come to offering this condition or putting this condition forward is from experience in the area and speaking to local officers and with the problem there, which is why I've asked what, if this were to be granted without this condition, what steps the applicant would be able to take in order to assist or prevent drinks being sold at their venue, contributing to the problem in the area.
Okay, well, if I can continue with my questions and perhaps deal with that point in a moment.
Yep, just don't forget that one.
Certainly not. PC Atkins, the premises that has a current license at the moment, the one that I mentioned in the beginning of my presentation, that was granted, I believe, in November 2019. What's changed?
Chair, unfortunately, I won't be able to answer what the discussion or what was said in discussions for that license. It wasn't a license that I was dealing with at the time. So, in order to answer, I mean, from my point of view, with the issue of street drinking in that area has been there for as far back as I can remember. And I've been to many a call down there. But I won't be able to answer as to why there wasn't a condition like that put forward at the time, because I didn't have any part in that license.
Thank you. And can you confirm, I think we did cover this in email, can you confirm that you don't have any evidence that these particular premises have any contributory part? You haven't got any evidence to say that they've contributed to street drinking. Is that correct?
No, I'm not saying that this venue has, which is why I've looked at this license, the extension of the hours. And it's all about prevention of public nuisance and crime disorder. We don't want it to increase any problems in the area by having the late hours or earlier in the morning, from memory, I believe it is.
Thank you very much. And if I can, I don't want to hammer this home. I think, Chair, the point is made in the bundle. So I don't think I need to labour this any further. In relation to your point about what it is the operator is going to do, well, what they're going to do is comply with the law. That's what they're going to do. And if they don't comply with the law, it's under penalty of prosecution. Now, the other thing that they could do, and was the sixth point, is they could work with you in a voluntary scheme to reduce the strength, along with the other people, the other traders in the area. At the moment, if this condition is imposed, customers only have to walk 20 metres in either direction to go to a premises that can sell these very products to them unrestricted. So if you would like to engage the applicant in a voluntary scheme, we'd be delighted to receive your approaches. Thank you.
Do you want to comment about that, PC Atkins?
Joe, I'm always happy to speak to all the licensees in the area and work at coming up with an issue, as well as working with a local team. In terms of the voluntary scheme, how would that work if the applicant is stating that they already have in excess of £12,500 of stock? How would they be able to implement a voluntary scheme with that amount in situ, if you don't mind me asking?
Not at all. As chair, as we have, PC Atkins and I have corresponded via email, and one of the points that we put to him was that the applicant had all of this stock and that it would take him something like 3 or 4 months, maybe even longer, to sell that stock. And it was in the early stages of our conversation that we wondered whether or not the police might even accept a sort of a phased-in approach to a condition, but they, not to wish to be too dramatic, they rather shut the door on that. If the applicant were to be engaged in a voluntary scheme, then I think we would say on a voluntary basis we might phase it in over a period of time. But that's a discussion that, being voluntary rather than being forced, it's a different kettle of fish altogether.
Yeah, I mean, if I might say, if you don't mind, just having read through your papers, that some of the conclusions that they came to was essentially, you know, if there's a restriction in one premises, then they'll just go to another premises up the road, you know, to buy the alcohol that they're after. That was the general conclusion. So I think across the board in the local area, if you're thinking of doing something like that, because we've got the greenhouse there and other facilities like that, then that's probably a better approach. I would suggest. Councillor Patrick, do you want to come in at all with anything that you've heard?
No, I only share that I think the voluntary scheme across all the offers and supermarkets in the area and try and bring in a voluntary scheme. But as it does seem unfair to single out one premises and put conditions on their licence. But I think a voluntary scheme might be worth thinking about. But then I suppose all it would do is make the people go a bit further away, unless we're going to introduce it across the borough.
Yeah, I mean, there are obviously sort of wider questions here, isn't there?
Yeah.
In regards to sort of national sort of legislation and what can and cannot be sold in terms of strength of alcohol. So we head to closing remarks. I think we've heard kind of, you know, we've heard enough, I think, personally. I don't know if we want to go to closing remarks. So if we could just ask the police to come in with your final remarks, PC Atkins, that would be useful.
Thank you, Chair. I mean, our position does remain the same. Our concern is the addition of another venue that is selling the alcohol. I would just mind that this is a new licence application. We haven't put this submission in because we want to be unfair to venues. It is in response to an issue that we do have and have been facing in the area. And I'd ask you just be mindful of that when you make your decision.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And the applicant, please, Mr. Bell, you wouldn't mind coming back?
I think we've rehearsed the language of it, Chair. What we say is that without this condition, which we'd ask you to decline, without this condition, the application is clearly already in full promotion of the licensing objectives, and it's in compliance with your own statement of licensing policy. And if further evidence were needed on this point, other than this single point, none of the responsible authorities are in opposition. So on that basis, I ask you to grant. I thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Bell. And Suba, the licensing officer, do you want to come back with anything at all?
No, Chair, not at this point. Thank you.
And Amanda, our legal officer, everything okay? Okay, so we'll just move to step 8 then, which is final clarifications. Councillor Patrick, any final clarifications for you? I think I've heard enough.
No, thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, great. Well, thank you everyone for attending this particular section of this licensing subcommittee. After the next one, we'll obviously go away and consider our decision. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for your time, everybody. Have a good
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. So now we'll move on to, bear with me until I just find the agenda. So item number 6. This is an application for a premises license at 16 Stoke Newington Road. And if I could just ask the licensing officer, please, to outline the report.
Thank you, Chair. Licensing service are receipt of an application for variation of premises license under Section 34 of the Licensing Act 2003 for 16 Stoke Newington Road to include supply of alcohol for consumption on the premises and late night refreshment as stated in the agenda. Representations remains from the other persons. I have nothing else to add. Thank you, Chair.
I would like to clarify one point. I believe that the hours have been reduced. Is that right?
That's right, Chair. So the applicant has been in agreement with the police, and the hours are being reduced from 2 a.m. to 2300. So let's just confirm.
So they now fit in with our core
policy hours. Yes. So the supply of alcohol for on and off sales are from 12 to 2300 Monday to Thursday, from 12 to midnight Friday and Saturday, and from 12 to 22:30 Sunday. And for late night refreshment is from 23 to midnight Friday and Saturday.
That's great. Thank you very much for that. So I'm just flicking through because I believe the first objection came in from, was it health and I'm talking about the responsible authorities now because there aren't any left, but there was an initial representation made on behalf of environmental health. Is that right?
Yes, that's
but that's been withdrawn. That's been withdrawn on the basis of the live and recorded music, yeah?
Yes, that's right. So they have withdrawn the objection based on the live and recorded music has been removed from the application.
Yeah, so there are no other representations that I can see on this form, and the police have withdrawn theirs on the basis of the condition agreed set out in paragraph 8.1. And licensing authority have confirmed no representation. Health authority have confirmed no representation. So we've only got the 3 other persons. So if I could ask B3 to come in and can't hear you. Maybe I missed one. Did I miss one?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, actually, we
Chair,
need to hear the applicant's case.
Have you? Are you going to hear from the applicant first before you hear?
Yeah,
from...
no, I just mentioned that. I forgot. If I could, I'd like to hear from the applicant now. Sorry about that. So, Caesar, over to you. Apologies.
Yeah. Hello. Hi. All right. Yeah. Actually, yeah, I've been working in running Mexican restaurant for a long time, and I never had a problem. With Ali here, we were planning to make this family restaurant. I understand the consequences of the alcohol and the sale, but I think we are fully prepared to do something good for the community. We are going to work with CCTV, with all the standards that obviously we need to help the community. I know all the business in the area, and I've seen some of them closing late and the problems of this. So what we just want is a normal family restaurant, and my target market is people that knows about Mexican food, with some beers provided and some alcohol, tequila. So I think I got the experience, and I know how to manage and control all these problems that can be raised with the alcoholic problem in the area.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Caesar. Okay, so I believe, Suba, that we've got, we had 3 other persons' objections, B1, B2, and B3. And I believe we have B3 here. Is that correct?
That's right, Chair. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, B3, if you'd like to come in. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you hear me, Chair?
Yep.
There's a bit of a delay on the line. I've not used this system before. I'd be grateful to know what this red button with a phone on means.
It means stop the call, finish the call.
I won't do that then. All right. Well, okay. Hello, Caesar. I've not met you, but believe me, I've heard it all before. I've lived here a very long time. And I must say, first up, I'm pretty disappointed with the responsible authorities. They haven't done much of a job here. Well, they haven't turned up, so that's clearly not a good thing. Can I? Well, I don't know whether the applicant has accepted the suggested conditions at 8.1. It'd be helpful if I knew that in advance.
Yeah, I think he has. I believe that's correct, Caesar. Yeah, you've accepted those conditions at 8.1 that we talked about before.
Yeah. I spoke with Claire, with the health inspection officer, and we agreed with some opening times because she says it's an irresponsible early morning sell alcohol. I agreed with her. I spoke with PC Dave, Andrew. We spoke about reducing the time from 2 o'clock in the morning to 12 o'clock. So I agreed. What we just want is to make a nice restaurant, as I told you before. So the aim of the business is not a bar, it's not a club. Even that we have next door the Escudo de Cuba, which they have a license for 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. They have a club over there. And recently he just bought the number 14. So we are going to be on the middle of this Cuban restaurant in the area, which they got license for 2 o'clock in the morning. And basically, honestly, I don't want to do the same. We just want to serve burritos and tacos to the area. I got the experience. I know how to do this job, and I understand the consequences of selling alcohol. So I think it's not going to be the same situation. But as those street, most of those business has this license until late times. People drinking outside and all the problems in the area. So we don't want to do the same. I just want to run a normal restaurant from 12 o'clock maybe till 11, 12 o'clock. That's fine for me.
Well, I'm well aware of the problems in the area, Caesar. I can tell you that. I do have a very simple rule when it comes to licensed premises. If you don't bother me, I'm not going to bother you. And it's as simple as that. However, this premises did bother me. There is a picture. I don't know whether you've just got a little thumbnail of it, because that really annoyed me when I saw that in the report. I don't know whether you could just have a quick look at that.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, William. I saw the picture, and let me explain to you. It's myself and Ali Hidir and 2 people of the staff. So on that time, I've been training the people to prepare the food, and I was having just a couple of girls just training. So it was 6, 7 people, and I don't know if you take that picture maybe at 11 o'clock or 10 by night, but it wasn't nothing wrong. It was not people drinking outside the premises. It's just a regular picture with 6 people or 7 people standing in front of the place. That place been closed since the pandemic. It's been closed for 2 years. And I've been working
on we could get to that, Caesar, when we have the discussion phase, if I could just say my little bit here. Yeah. Thing is, I can't concur with that at all. The picture is time and date stamped, and I don't know whether you can see that on the thumbnail. I didn't want it to be a thumbnail.
It was a very small picture. I couldn't see details, and I can just recognize myself and a couple of people over there, and I can tell you it's part of my staff. But
no, sorry, Caesar. If you don't mind, I was just gonna, have a word here. This is my
sorry. 1 second, please. B3. Can we just wait for all of this until we get into the discussion phase? The questioning of Caesar and all that kind of thing. It'd be best just to do it then. So if you wouldn't mind,
I'm not questioning Caesar. I'm just simply trying to make my representations.
Yeah, well, if you just make your representation, then that'd be great, and then we can have a discussion.
Right, okay. Well, I'll make that representation. I took that picture. It's nearly 3 o'clock in the morning. There's no way that is staff. That is absolutely going up. That was absolutely a non-notified event going on with lots of noise and a big party happening. So there's no way I can actually concur with what Caesar's saying there. I have to say that is completely wrong, and there's no way I can concur with that. That is a completely false account of what happened. there was over a weekend there was a loud party going on. It was very noisy, and until 3 in the morning, and that's what the photo is of. So no staff, no nothing. That's nonsense. Yeah. So basically, I rang up licensing. I said, "Well, what's going on there? Have they got a do they have got a 10?" They said no. I said, "Okay." Have they got a license? They said no. So okay. I didn't actually make a complaint about it. But anyway, shortly afterwards, this application materialized, and as you can see from the original application, it was quite extensive. We're talking about 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning here, with entertainment and so forth. And clearly, I wasn't happy with that. And the reason I always include in my representations the actual application form at the bottom is to give you some context, actually, as to what I'm making representations about. So you can see under D3 what I was making representations about, and there it was, B3. I think it is. That's what I'm making representations about. I'm not making representations about this particular application, which is being substantially reduced. So good news is being substantially reduced. Very happy with that. However, that doesn't give me, the fact that Caesar's come up with that doesn't give me any confidence in the applicant at all. And the fact that responsible authorities have just merely come up with what's under 8.1 also gives me cause for concern, because there are other issues I would like to be addressed in this license. This is essentially a new license. This premise has been there for a long time. It was originally an off license for many years. They turned it into a cafe. They didn't do anything about the license. This applicant changed this place into what it is now. It is advertised as a bar on the outside, and it opened up just with the easing of restrictions this year happened, and no license was applied for. So it took a substantial amount of time for them actually to get around to thinking, oh, hang on a minute, we actually need an on license. So that doesn't sound very good for me in terms of management. Licensing seem to be particularly at sea at the minute, and I would like the subcommittee to consider the fact that this place advertises as a bar. Is there any drinking outside? Okay, no, it would seem not with the sealed containers, but perhaps that could be clearer. If they're going to stop using the outside area at 2200 hours, what does that actually mean in terms of the use of the outside area? Does that mean, do they have a smoking area? It doesn't seem to be a designated smoking area anywhere on site or in the plan or anything like that. And if they're going to have 8 people seated outside most of the time, where are the customers going to smoke the rest of the time? Another issue I'd like to sort out. There's also a huge problem with signs and clutter on the pavement at the moment. You can't move for them. There is a prohibition in Hackney against signs on the pavement and so forth. But, since there isn't a licensing enforcement team, since seems to be absolutely no regulation of any sort at the moment, it is a problem. Doesn't seem to be a dispersal policy available from the applicant. It's often said that restaurants aren't particularly a problem, and they're certainly less of a problem than, say, a vertical bar situation. But you can get some really rowdy restaurants, and this looks like a particularly candidate for being a rowdy restaurant in terms of tequilas and so forth, and what we have Maharishi music and so forth, and all of that. That can be, they can really whip up a drunken crowd inside the premises. Then we have the issue of deliveries and collections, which is a major bugbear for me. You have people, delivering stuff at, 3, 4 in the morning, collecting stuff at, similar times. That could be very noisy. Hackney generally prohibits deliveries and collections at these late hours. I'd certainly like to see a condition for that. And then we have things like littering and smoking and so forth. So all of that, please. I would like very much addressed, because the chances of this license coming up again, I don't know when it will come up again, but I would really much like all that sorted out. So this premise isn't a problem for me in the future, because, as I say, there are a hell of a lot of other premises that are a problem, which the applicant has also noticed, which I'm glad. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Councillor Patrick, would you like to come back with any points of clarification, please?
No, thank you, Chair. I don't think I need any points of clarification. I'll listen to the discussion and come in then if I wish to. Thank you.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. Brilliant. Okay, so we'll move into step 6 then, the discussion phase. Caesar, you've heard Mr. B3's concerns about smoking area, about dispersal. We'd like to know how many people the venue can take as well, which would be useful. Deliveries and collections, when they'll take place, what you're going to do about making sure the area is clean outside the premises and things like that. So if you could just maybe talk to some of those points,
okay,
that would be useful. Thank you.
yeah, okay. The restaurant has a capacity of 50 people inside, and obviously we have a back door exit on a Shackwell Lane, and we have our own space, parking space. So all the deliveries, I'm the one that usually do the deliveries, so I don't think it's going to be a big trouble with that, because what I'm planning to serve on that place is just tacos and burritos, which is just a short menu. It's not a big restaurant. It's giving an option to the people to try Mexican food, and our delivery is
sorry, 1 second. Do the deliveries come round the back?
Exactly.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Deliveries are coming through the back. We have the back door exit, and as well, I need to point you that since I've been there 5 months ago, I've been cleaning that space, because I have one objection as well, saying that at the back was very dirty and people using drugs, and that I put a CCTV camera on the back. I clean, and right now until yesterday I checked that spot, and it's completely clean like never before. So the neighbors must be really happy that in the back, from 6 months ago, 5 months ago to the date, it's been a completely changed. And I have pictures to prove you how I work in a regular basis, the cleaning, and how I put CCTV camera on the back, and how I put my signs saying that no one is allowed to be there dumping and throwing rubbish. So even the neighbors are happy with what we've done in the last 5 months. I need to tell you as well that during all these times, Ali Hidir has been struggling to pay the rent, because since the pandemic, he couldn't afford to continue the business. So this is when I step in, and I told him, I'm from Mexico. My brand is from Mexico, so I know how to do a Mexican restaurant. So we came together with this idea. So it's been closed for 2 years right now, that business. And obviously last month, it was a little bit misunderstood, because when I spoke about the license, they told me, yes, the premises has an alcohol license, but the alcohol license was of premises. So because of that, then we realized I spoke with Subanjini, which is here right now with us, and she explained to me, and she told me, no, the alcohol is just outside. You cannot operate inside right now. So we decided to do things correctly. We decide to change the hours if it's necessary, and what we just want is a normal and nice restaurant in the area. So obviously I understand what Julian is talking about the business. Well, I need to tell him that all around that place, so they got license for 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and obviously we don't want to contribute with more bad behavior or with alcohol problems onto the area.
Yeah.
This is
and what about your smoking area?
We are planning to, well, if we get this license, we have a space outside for 8 people maximum. So sometimes if it gets busy, we can find security. We have the CCTV, everything. We can explain to the customers that there's no specific space to smoke, or there's no just outside the premises, and obviously no one can drink and bring bottles of beers or whatever outside the premises. I'm going to manage that myself, so I think I'm capable of managing it, because I've been doing this for 12 years, and my experience running Mexican restaurants is like this. So I know exactly what I need to do and tell the customers, and to treat all the customers, explain to them about how we can manage this place and be secure to the area.
Yeah. And how do you envisage, come the end of the evening, how you're going to, well, it's called a dispersal policy, how you're going to kind of get people to leave quietly and in a sort of orderly way?
Yeah, we have signs.
Have you thought about that?
Yeah, we have signs on place saying respect the neighbors. We have conversation with most of the neighbors. Always about music level. We don't have their professional sound system. It's just regular speaker with a system. So we don't want to exceed and to make a bar with this. It's just a place to eat something and to maybe drink a couple of beers, and that's it. We are not
Okay.
going to put loud music. We are not going to exceed the capacity of the place. And if we have any problem, we are going to work together with the police, and we can have every CCTV, everything in place to make it safe.
Yeah. So when you say 50 people indoors, do you mean 50 people sitting down?
The seaters, the chairs that we got at the moment is around maximum 50 people sitting indoors. Yeah.
Okay. And just there's two more points I'd like to raise before B3 or Councillor Patrick or anybody else wants to come in. Is about littering. Mr. B3 mentioned littering. Have you thought about, what you're going to do to kind of keep the area in front of your shop tidy?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be there every single day, so I need to manage and check everything correctly, the cleaning, everything. It must be fine. Even I'm struggling with the business next door, the Cuban, Escudo de Cuba, which is next to us. He just bought recently the other one next to us. So he have a license for 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I don't want my neighbors to be confused what we are doing, what them are doing.
Yeah.
We are going to be on the middle of them right now, and they have an alcohol license and they have a club downstairs. So this is just a restaurant that mainly on the weekends we are going to close at 12 o'clock. That's it.
Yeah.
And we are going to try to be responsible in all single ways to deliver the service.
Okay, that's great. So the final question from me is quite direct. How would you feel about having a condition on your license which said that you could only serve drinks, alcoholic drinks, with a table meal? How would that sit with you?
Yeah, that's
Did you already
fine.
agree to that, Chair?
We agree with that. Yeah.
Oh, you've agreed to that. Okay.
We agree.
Okay, cool.
PC Andrew. We
Fantastic.
made some
That's a good one.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, the target market of the people coming to this kind of Mexican restaurant is people that they are not troublemakers. It's family people. When I do this, it's usually people with the parents, with family restaurant, even with kids. That's the aim of the restaurant. So I don't want to go crazy in a bar that people can get crazy and tequila shots. This is not about, I'm from Mexico, and this is not about giving tequila shots for everyone and getting crazy. It's about having a nice restaurant with everyone enjoying. I have lovely customers from around the world, and most of them understand what is this about. It's about tasting authentic food and having, of course, a margarita or whatever is necessary with their meal. But this is not
okay. That's great.
Make party.
Yeah, not much of a discussion.
Thank you very much,
is
Caesar.
really.
Councillor Patrick, sorry, 1 second. Councillor Patrick's put up her hand.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'm just curious. You say you want this to be a family restaurant. Stuff, but in your conditions, and I've just lost the page now. You say you're not allowing children in after, I think, 7 o'clock, which seems a bit of a dichotomy to what you're saying. I've lost the page. Sorry.
Yeah.
And I think it's keeping children. Protecting children from harm. Sorry, doesn't have a page number. It says no children will be allowed in the premises any day after 7 o'clock. But that doesn't really fit in with you being a family restaurant. I mean,
no, of course not. But most of the family that comes with children, usually they are like in the early time, maybe around 2 to 12. I don't know, 3, 4. Usually around like 7 o'clock, there's time for couples and time for people enjoying the meal, and that's why I put that condition. I was the one that says, okay, I'm going to just to let people with children at 7 o'clock, even it's just to protect children. I'm not going to make parties or whatever. It's just to say like, okay, everyone is allowed with children before 7 o'clock. Even my restaurant is planning to be pets friendly as well. So I'm planning to have family with pets, dogs or whatever just before that certain time.
I mean, it's your restaurant, but to me, that doesn't sound like a family-friendly restaurant. I mean, if I had older children, basically excluding me, and it doesn't sound like a family-friendly restaurant if you're excluding families after 7 o'clock. But I mean, it's up to you. It's your condition, but it doesn't go with the family-friendly restaurant if you've decided to exclude families after 7 o'clock. I mean, families have children of all ages, and older teenagers, but it's your business. It's up to you.
No, I can change if you give me an advice, and maybe we can say 8 o'clock. I don't mind, to be honestly. I just say 7 o'clock. Well, for me,
it's up to you. It's your business.
No,
but you're telling us. My question, I suppose, is you're saying this is a family-friendly restaurant, and if you were running a bar, I would expect that sort of condition, or it was going to be more of a bar in the evening. It just seems to me that the two don't go together. Why you're excluding families if all it is a restaurant? That's all I'm saying. I'm just worried about this being. You keep saying it's not a bar and it's a restaurant, but you're excluding families from your restaurant. But it's entirely up to you. I mean, lots of people don't like children, so maybe that's up to you.
Well, you're right. If I can change the application and I can just to have more approach with the kids and people with kids as well, like I can change it from 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock if they agreed with me to extend the hours with the kids. So I have 2 kids, so I understand perfectly what is the family restaurant, and I usually go with my wife and with the kids to all the restaurants in the area. It's just I say 7 o'clock because sometimes it's safe. Even I'm not planning to run a bar, but sometimes people drinking and people can be shouting or whatever, so it's not nice to have children. I think after certain time that people can usually, kind of problem, and that's why I say just to protect kids if it's necessary. My aim is a restaurant, and that's it. But sometimes problem comes and no one can get escape from that. I'm just trying to protect and to make it safe for kids. That's why I say 7 o'clock.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, Chairman, can I say a word here, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. I've heard this sort of patter many times before. And what I really want is some enforceable licensing conditions, please. I think that's essential in the circumstances, particularly that 10 event that happened there. There's no way that was what the applicant said it was. Clearly was not a staff exercise. We're talking nearly 3 o'clock in the morning here on 2 nights. Some very loud music coming out of there as well. Big party. There were kids there as well, may I point out, which you could see in a proper size photograph, which I asked licensing to provide, which licensing doesn't seem to have done so. Each license needs to be decided on its own merits. Other premises abuses don't give the applicant any excuses in these circumstances. It's no excuse that the applicant didn't read the license when it was operating without an on license. I'm not impressed with the words of comfort. I want enforceable licensing conditions for the things I've asked for. Please, they are very sensible things that Hackney do all the time in terms of deliveries and collections. They're going to be at the back. Well, let's have a condition that says that, and let's have a condition that says that shouldn't be between the hours of, say, I don't know, between 10 p.m. and 7 in the morning, for instance, something like that. That would be very helpful. Something enforceable, please. Should have a dispersal policy all the time with any Mexican restaurants are particularly notorious around here for being essentially tequila slammer places. Or it's tequila and nibbles. I'm very grateful that the condition's been accepted. I'm concerned it might not be entirely enforced, but I'm pleased with that at least. Smoking, that's still not being really addressed. Where are people going to be smoking if people are People are eating outside, which I don't have too much objection to, but I do have objection to the fact that I would actually like to walk on the pavement occasionally. And if we've got smokers and people eating, it doesn't leave a lot of room. It's a very busy pedestrian highway. So what are they going to do about that? It doesn't seem to be addressed. So my concern is that I'm skeptical that the applicant is being entirely truthful with you, particularly with regard to that non-10 event there, which wasn't notified. Can't read the license. Really nice to want some proper licensing conditions, and words of comfort are no use to me, Mr. Chairman. What I really need is some proper licensing conditions, enforceable licensing conditions. Oh, and can I put a word in the fact that could we have a proper licensing enforcement team as well? That would be really useful. Many thanks.
That'll be noted. Thank you very much. Any further points, Suba? You had your hand up.
Sorry, Chair. I just would like to confirm the photograph which B3 was referring. It was circulated in my email from yesterday's one. So the picture should be in that part of that email, which B3 is referring to. I just want to confirm that. Thank you, Chair.
It is time and date stamped.
Great. Steve, so you wanted to come in. You're on mute. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We got the picture, but it honestly, it just simply looks. For me, it's nothing because I can see just 7 people standing outside the place. I mean, it's not even people drinking or smoking, and I can recognize myself and maybe Ali here and maybe part of my staff. So I don't give too much importance for this picture. To be honest, it's any time, any date, and I don't think I really don't believe that this means nothing because it could be any time of the day and any time. So this place been closed for 2 years, and we changed the decoration. We did a lot of job the last 2 months. So on the time we thought that everything was ready, I was training staff. My staff obviously is people from Latin America. There were some girls, so maybe the person here just misunderstood that was some kind of party going on, but even was no music over there. And as far as I understand, next to us is Escudo de Cuba, which usually is a crowd of more than 50 people outside. That's a very, very busy place, and usually is people making queues for going to the club downstairs, and it's just 3-4 meters next to us, that place. So I don't know if he's confusing what is in here, because I can just see 7 people standing in front of the restaurant. So it could mean anything. It's not even chairs, it's not tables, it's nothing over there. So
okay,
I don't know.
All right, thank you for that. Suba, and then Councillor Patrick.
Sorry, Chair. If required, I'm happy to share the picture. I could present the picture if required. Thank you, Chair.
I mean, I've managed to blow it up myself. Councillor Patrick, do you want a bigger? I've had a good look at it. I've sort of blown it up myself.
Can you see the time and the date stamp on it, Councillor?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. There's Councillor Patrick, do you want to come in? You're on mute.
I wanted a better picture because I can't read the time and day. I've managed to blow it up as much as I can. I can't reckon. All I can see is some people in the street.
Well, Suba, do you want to fire that off to us again then?
There seems to be a group of people, and then there's another group of people standing about 2 or 3 meters away from each other. But there's nothing to say that they're attached to the restaurant from what I can say. Yeah.
All right. So it's 12th of the 9th, 21.
Thank you.
At 2:48.
Yeah. Right. Thank you.
Yeah. Can I just give you just a bit of context to that, if I may?
Yeah.
this was over 2 nights, loud music, party. This is outside this premises, not anything to do with any other premises. This premises, absolutely. I'm very aware of the area. Photograph taken from my premises. I know it very well. I know the area very well. It was this premises. It was at that time, and it was on that day. And there's no arguing with it. There was an event going on there over a weekend, and any other account is nonsense.
Okay. We're sort of in the middle of the discussion. We're sort of at the end of the discussion. I'm kind of feeling that we're coming to the end. Amanda, do you want to come in?
Sorry, just to clarify, Chair. Have you asked the applicant directly about whether or not they would agree to a dispersal policy, delivery condition, or smoking condition? And I don't know whether or not you need to consider capacity. So
yeah.
I think we need to clarify. And also, is there a condition? I may have overlooked it, so apologies. For people to contact in case of any issues. You know, contact details to be available.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yeah, thank you for that, Amanda. I was going to ask that question actually about the conditions as to how they were prepared to do it. But let's just finish off. Councillor Patrick, do you have any further comments to make during the discussion phase?
No, Chair.
And B3, do you have any more points you'd like to?
Well, yeah. Well, first of all, I would always say, particularly considering the original application for this, I'd always expect a dispersal policy with the application, not as an afterthought after the application.
Yeah, I agree.
That's not good management as far as I'm concerned. The delivery condition is absolutely necessary. These sort of premises in particular are the worst for this. They will have deliveries all sorts of through the night, and you know, they say delivery out the back. Okay, well, let's have a proper condition about that. Exactly when and where and what they're doing. Please, that's most important. You know, as for the rest of it, you know, smoking, as I say, you know, how many people are there smoking out the front? There's no clue as to what's going on there. And yeah, you know, it's this sort of boilerplate stuff really licensing should be handling. I mean, it shouldn't be down to me to come up here and say all of this. I mean, there are a few things. I'm glad there are already, but we've had the signs on the pavement. You could put signs in the pavement prohibition. I'd be quite happy with that. And is there going to be any drinking outside? Is that expressly prohibited? I'm not sure. From what I've seen, yes, there's a prohibition on taking glass containers out, but I don't see an express prohibition on drinking outside. You know, I'm not convinced by this applicant's patter. I urge you to consider, you know, not to be convinced by it. Please, enforceable conditions.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. B3. So, Caesar, do you want to come back on some of those points and just maybe we're sort of in the closing remarks position now, I think. But if you would like to address the point about drinking outside and the prohibition from Mr. B3, and also about whether you are up for having some of these conditions that we've talked about in the license.
Yeah, one of the conditions clearly says that I'm not going to have outside glass bottles. So I was thinking about having like plastic glasses for outside. The condition that I spoke with PC Dave was that the only condition, and it was just a maximum of 8 people outside, because we are going to have 2 small tables and it's going to be 4 people on each table.
Is that for smoking, is it, or just in general?
Yeah, for smoking people outside an area. Right. We are going to have 2 small tables with 4 people, and this is what PC, Dave, and me came with, maximum 8 people outside and no glass bottles outside. So that was the condition. About the deliveries, I'm going to try to make it at the back, but sometimes you don't know, like it's like a plumber or whatever, people just park outside. So I cannot guarantee that it's not going to be once, but I think it could be before regular times, like before like 3-4 o'clock in the evening. It's not that they're going to make a delivery at 8 o'clock or 9 or 10. Usually deliveries are before the opening time, and usually deliveries for me are before 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock. And if I got a delivery, it could be once a week, or it can be once every 2 weeks. And most of the delivery is going to be made by myself, and I'm going to park my car at the back, as I explained before. So this is how I'm planning to run the place, and I don't think it's going to be any affect anyone with this.
Okay, well, we can sort of work through that condition with you, Councillor Patrick.
I just wanted to, I thought the tables outside were for eating, but is Caesar saying that they're just for people to sit and smoke?
No, eating and drinking as well.
Right, that's what I thought.
Yep.
So there's no smoking. So people won't want people standing over them smoking while they're eating and drinking.
No, what I want on that table is people sitting, and especially when it's good weather, not right now where it's going to be cold, but especially because our next door neighbor, which is the Cuban guy, he got more than 35 tables outside the premises. He used the Miller Terrace to like part of his restaurant. It's being closed Miller Terrace with 2 big plant pots, and he just put tables and chairs every single day on the middle of the road. So he usually has outside the premise more than 35 tables with chairs, and usually is busy. And so my plan to have outside 2 tables with 4 people maximum on each one is a small. It's just 1.5 meters that I got space to put these tables and chairs over there.
Okay, so that's not what I'm asking. What I'm asking then is that you haven't actually got an allocated smoking area, because you might. Well, certainly when I've sat outside a restaurant, I've moved several times when I've had people sitting next to me or people standing over me smoking while I'm trying to eat, which I find to non-smokers totally offensive. So what I'm saying is, and it's the point that Mr. B3 raised, is where are you going to put your smokers if your outside area is being used for people eating and drinking? So if people want to come out of the restaurant, which people do, say between courses, and have a cigarette, where are they going to go?
Yeah, but well, usually what is happening over there is even my staff that they usually smoke, they go into one part on the left side, and there's even a box like an ashtray over there, a big ashtray in front of our restaurant. So usually it's one space at the back that the people smoke over there. Even people, if they want to sit down outside and have a meal, have a drink and smoke, I think they are welcome to do that. Even we can encourage the customers to tell them whatever is necessary. I mean, not to affect the people walking, and obviously people like you that don't like people smoking. I can manage to put signs, so I can manage to let the customers know that we have a special place. I can manage to find a special place in the corner or whatever is necessary. Even we don't have too much space outside the premises. We don't have at the back is not like an easy access for the people to going through the back to smoke. So it's a little bit difficult to have a specific smoking area, and the only place that I got in mind is outside, when it's the tables and people just can sit down there and have a meal and smoke over there.
Amanda, just before you start, can I just ask you to clarify the position on tables and chairs licenses, because I know it changed during COVID. I'd like clarification on that, please.
Yeah, I was going to actually say something about that. But, what the applicant described is probably a premises which actually has a tables and chairs license. Otherwise, they wouldn't be allowed to actually have that many tables and chairs or have them on the street or anything like that. It would have been agreed with the council. There's a separate department, the markets and department, who issue a license for tables and chairs. So you'd need to consider obtaining a tables and chairs license or making inquiries to make sure you're not in breach of those requirements.
Yes,
So
Amanda,
that's
we
really
spoke already with the market, with the tables and chairs. So we are right now on the middle. I opened my account, and right
Yeah.
now we have the we need to pay some money,
So
480.
you're applying for a tables and chairs
Yeah,
license.
I'm applying
Okay.
for the license.
And with the smoking area, I know you said that you can't specify that. So that's not been put on your site plan, I take it. Smoking area.
I'm going to make a plan for that, Amanda. I'm going to try to find
Because
out
that should really be on your plan if possible. And also, can I just clarify, Chair, with the deliveries, these are just food deliveries, or is this like takeaways or anything like that?
At the moment,
Do they do takeaway? I'm not sure.
maybe we are going to do takeaway, but with Deliveroo. So usually the guys go on the corner. There's a lot of people that can park.
But at the moment, you're not doing deliveries or takeaway.
At the moment, no, Amanda. I need to see how it runs the place, to be honestly, and then I'm going to take a decision to make deliveries. It's just my own food deliveries or maybe beer, alcohol cases delivery. That's it. That's what is going to happen, and maybe it's going to happen once every 2 weeks. So, and it's going to happen before 5 o'clock. So.
You did mention plumbers, but they're not really deliveries, are they? Really, they're just coming with a bag of tools to fix a pipe or whatever. So they shouldn't be making that much noise, really.
Yeah, after 7 o'clock, people park outside the premises. There's the red square. So usually, not people. But I've seen some deliveries for the guys next door coming at late time, and they do deliveries. Yeah, there's a busy area to make deliveries.
You are happy for us to work on a condition with you on the delivery times and everything, yeah?
I can work if it's any. Yeah, I can work with conditions. If you tell me before a certain time, I can agree with that.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Councillor Patrick, did I see you wanted to come back in again?
No.
Okay, I think I'm going to just allow the opportunity for Mr. B3 to come back with closing remarks, just very briefly. I mean, we've kind of got the message, so thank you for that, Mr. B3. But if you want to come back with anything, now's your chance.
Yeah, let's have some times for deliveries now. What reasonable times. I'm not unreasonable about it. Just not late at night, early in the morning, please. That's all. If it's before. If it's before.
Well, you mentioned 10 and 7
evening,
before, didn't you?
Yeah, if it's a reasonable hour, I've not got a problem with it. My problem is when it gets after 9 o'clock at night or whatever, or or if it's really early in the morning, then it's a problem. So what can the applicant say about that now?
Councillor Patrick, do you want to bring Councillor Patrick in?
Yeah, just surely if the delivery should be to the back, because assuming that's where the kitchen is. So if we, Caesar says he parks his car at the back, so let's condition the deliveries to the back between 8 and not before 8 and after 7.
Okay.
Sounds okay to me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. Amanda, do you want to write that down?
So deliveries to the back.
I'm writing it down. Not before 8 a.m. and not after
7
p.m.
Yeah, okay. I can agree with that, but maybe could be possibility of sometimes someone park on the front area to make a delivery. Maybe usually
you tell them they have to go around the back. You're their customer, so you tell them where they go. You say
the entrance of Shackwell Lane. It's a very, very narrow entrance, and I don't think these delivery vans usually, if they can do it, for me, is more than excellent. There's
Shackwell Lane's a big road. Shackwell Road's not
the Shackwell Lane on the road. This is the Shackwell Mews. Is next to Miller Terrace.
You said that you were doing most of the deliveries.
I do it by my own because I have car and I have a parking space at the back. So, but I'm going to do it.
I'm sure the delivery. I mean, from what you say, for a restaurant of 50, I don't think you'll be having Arctics delivering.
I'm going to try to manage.
So I think delivery vans will be able to get down there.
Yeah, okay, I'll try to tell everyone to go to the back. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of deliveries going outside for most of the restaurants. In front of our restaurant, even there's FS, which they have big
As
big events. When
we
you-
have to take every
All of them.
application on its merit, so that's what we're doing.
Well, I can agree with that, but you know, if there's sometimes that someone need to do the delivery outside, maybe I'm going to try to explain everyone to go to the back, but
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
not guarantee 100%.
Well, if you
Amanda.
go to, if you go to a restaurant or a posh restaurant or whatever, you don't expect to see deliveries going in through the front.
In front the shop. That's in front of the shop is the loading bay for deliveries, and they say from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's what it says the sign deliveries. From 10, loading 20 minutes.
But you told us you were doing the deliveries yourself and that you do them to your back.
No,
And now you're saying you're not doing the
No, no.
deliveries yourself.
I do it. I do it by my own, but sometimes I get myself really busy, especially because I'm a manager, a restaurant manager, so I need to run the service as well. So sometimes when I get really extremely busy, I get people to help me. Someone can deliver it to me if it's necessary. I can do it, but sometimes I get really busy running a restaurant. So if I'll do my deliveries, sometimes it gets a little bit difficult for me. This is when the times that I need someone to help me with deliveries.
So are you saying that you won't agree to those conditions?
I can agree with the time you say. Yes, I can agree, and I'm going to agree as well to explain everyone that in the back is more easy to deliver to our restaurant.
Okay.
Thank you.
Chair, all I was going to say is that the applicant, when agreeing to these conditions, needs to be aware that they have to build up a reputation. They have to build up a track record. And therefore, although he's saying on occasion there may be times that he can't comply with their delivery condition, that he needs to try to do it, though, because of the fact that, that's going to result in complaints coming through. So that's why we're encouraging him to have conditions to reassure local residents that he's running the premises responsibly.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Any further comments, anyone, before we wind this up?
Well, yeah, no, simply, please, we need enforceable licensing conditions. No words of comfort, please, are going to suffice.
Yeah, we've heard you there.
Yes, Chair, we need
Mr.
the applicant to actually confirm that they're happy to agree to conditions so that we can apply them if you feel needed when you make your decision.
Yeah, we have asked Caesar if he's be happy to. I mean, let's just run through some of these potential conditions, which we will formulate wording for and consult with you tomorrow or whatever to make sure that they're okay. We'll design them tonight, and then you'll have a look at them. But we need your permission to do that. Really, your blessing to do that, Caesar. Is that right?
Yes, I can agree with these conditions.
So can I clarify, Chair? Are you not making a decision then on this? I'm not sure why you're having a further discussion with the applicant after the meeting.
We'd have to draft the conditions now, and that's going to be tricky because we only got a certain amount of time, and there's quite a number of conditions here that we'd have to do right now. Amanda, do you want to come in on this?
Yes, I was just going to say that it is normal just to double check with the applicant that the wording of the condition is something that they're going to be, acceptable to them, because we
can run through it. I mean, I'm happy to run through them now then if you want.
Yeah, we can run through it, but for some of them, for example, the dispersal policy, it will be a requirement for them to liaise with the licensing authority to have a dispersal policy prepared.
Okay, so what do you suggest we do then?
No, what I'm saying is there is some standard wording, but it's just that the dispersal policy would have to be prepared with the agreement of the licensing authority. So that's our standard condition that we would put in.
Yeah. Have you got that standard condition there?
I can get it. Bear with me.
And then you can hear it, Caesar, and see if you're happy with that. And then we've got one on smoking. So a smoking area, no more than 8 smokers in outdoors.
No.
8. Isn't that what they said?
Well, you have 8 people eating at the tables and you have 8 smokers. What about pedestrians?
Well, maybe you have to think about reducing the number of smokers outdoors then.
No, the smokers are going to be the same number of people being outside. I don't think I'm going to have 8 people eating and
Okay, so
drinking.
4, maximum
Yeah.
of 4 people smoking then, yeah? I mean,
Yeah.
okay. How does that sound, Mr. P3?
Well, it sounds as if you'll need to reduce the number of pedestrians walking past as well, because there's only so much space on the pavement for people. It's a
The
very
thing is, the
busy
table and chairs
pedestrian
license
highway.
is a separate department from this. That's the problem.
I appreciate that, but you have the situation where you have tables and chairs outside, and then you have smokers on top of that, and then the pedestrians have to weave around what the rest of the pavement space that's available. It's a very simple equation. There's only so much room.
No, I realise that.
And,
But the thing is, they haven't got their table and chairs license at the moment. So in actual fact, we're not really considering that. We shouldn't be, because it's actually not part of the application. So we can just deal with smokers. We can just say smokers outside, no more than 4 at any one time.
When you say it's not part of the application, isn't it in part 8.1? Yeah, didn't I see that?
That's to do with the time, isn't it?
I'm sure I read somewhere it was.
I think that's to do with the timing. Subi, can you help us with this? 8.1.
Yes, Chair, that's a condition where it says, say for a maximum of 8 persons who are seated at the front of the premises, and there are no glass drinks or open containers taken from the premises at any time.
But he mentioned 4
Which
people
is-
sitting at 2 tables.
Yeah,
Oh,
say
no,
for
2
maximum
tables
of
times 4, which would be 8. Yeah.
8
Okay.
persons who are seated. So that's on page 3 of the online version of the report.
So it would seem to be part of the application, Mr. Chairman.
Yep, it looks like it. I don't have that in my. Anyway, you've read it out now, so that's good. So there's nothing mentioning smoking in there then? No.
Well,
So
look, my point is very simple. There's only so much room on the pavement. I've got no objection to people sitting outside, so long as there is room to actually walk on the pavement. But then you have smokers as well. There's no designated smoking area, so where am I supposed to walk?
Yeah.
Prevention of public nuisance would suggest, the highway shouldn't be blocked.
Yeah.
We can manage to have one table for the smokers and then the other one available for people eating. So it's going to be on one side, the right side, and on the left side. So we can agree for that as well.
You have 2 tables.
We
You have 2 tables and some smokers.
There are
That
2
would seem
tables
to
for
be
8 people, yes. That doesn't mean that 8 people are going to be smoking and eating at the same time. Usually, someone sit outside with a friend and just having a drink.
Where are your staff going to smoke? I mean, you're going to have people standing outside here and smoking.
Yeah,
that's.
I'll think to manage a smoking area, but as the space is outside, don't allow me to have a specific smoking area as is having a table or having a smoking area, and they can use the smoking area and the table if they need it.
It just seems to me you can either have tables outside or you can have a smoking area. I don't think you can really have both. But, this is an issue for you, Mr. Chairman.
People is going to sit down in a table.
Yeah, I think we need to draw this this discussion to a close, and also to quickly agree which conditions, whether or not the applicant's happy to agree them or not, and then we will finalise the wording. I think because the time is actually finished.
Yeah, I can agree with that conditions. That's no problem for me. If it's necessary to find a smoking area, I'll do it. I just want to run a place and to be the safe and the
Councillor Patrick, do you want to come in on this?
Yeah, just to help, perhaps the staff could smoke out the back.
Yep.
Then that would relieve the front of the pavement. So perhaps the staff could smoke out the back, and that leaves some space at the front for patrons to smoke. I don't know. I mean, how big the space is, but perhaps we can look at that. So if the staff smoke out the back, and then the space at the front of the restaurant is allowed for patrons to smoke. I don't think you'll have that many smokers. It's not a bar. I think you'll just probably have either people who want to who want to smoke and eat, and they will sit outside, or you'll have people popping out for a cigarette between courses for the people that are seriously addicted.
Yes, yeah, that's our. We can manage to tell the staff to smoke at the back, and you just
Okay, great. Amanda, have you found the dispersal policy wording?
Yeah, I'm just getting it.
And then maybe we could have another one on littering, Caesar, just to keep the front of the shop area clean. Yeah.
And signs.
And signs.
A-boards. Big problem. Especially when there's a lack of space with tables and chairs and smokers and so forth.
You're not meant to have signs on the pavement.
No, that's right.
Quite so,
No
Councillor, but
A-boards.
have a walk up and down Keighley High Street and Stoke Newton Road.
I know, I've seen them all. I'm sure. I'll mention it to Councillor Stops. He's the expert at getting them removed.
We actually need some enforcement people. That's what we
I
really
agree
need.
with
Councillor
you.
Stops can't do it on his own.
No. If you've got an extra 20 million, you can lend us or give us so we can employ some more staff.
Then, while I'm getting the condition, would you be able to check whether or not the applicant would agree?
I think I'm up to doing it myself, Councillor. I'm pretty much doing everything else.
You certainly are.
Chair, would you be able to check whilst I'm getting this condition whether or not the applicant would agree to a capacity condition? Or not?
Do you agree to a capacity condition of 50?
Yeah, I think that's the number of chairs and people maybe running and out. Maximum capacity can be sitting inside the restaurant, and I'm not going to have any people standing and drinking and just standing there. People may sit down in a table. I have number tables. I have my system ready to everyone comes there and sit down and have a meal and have a drink. That's it.
Okay, that's great. Have you found it yet, Amanda?
Yeah, I'm just going through our pool of conditions. Sorry, just bear with me. Yeah, sorry. So a written
Chair, as I've got the notes here, would it be useful for me to just read through the conditions that have been discussed and the ones that have been put forward that the applicant has either indicated he'd agree to?
Yes, if you're on top of that, Andrew, that would be really useful. Thank you.
That's fine. So just to confirm then, deliveries and collections restricted between not before 8 AM and not after 7 PM, and deliveries made round the back. The capacity condition of 50 inside. Smoking area to be allocated to the outside and potentially 4, and then 4 as designated seating. Condition that they only serve alcoholic drinks with the table meal, which I think had already been agreed.
Yeah, just lost you there, Andrew.
A condition that they only serve alcoholic drinks with the table meal, which I believe was one of the conditions that was actually put forward by the licensing authority at some point. I think the only other ones were contact details to be available for residents in case that there are complaints. And
Andrew, could you go back just a minute, because we lost you there for a minute.
Okay, where did you lose me, Chair?
On the smoking bit.
So with the smoking, I believe at one point the discussion was the smoking area to be allocated outside. for customers, and then obviously smoking area for staff out the back. And then finally, I think the last one was the dispersal policy, written dispersal policy, and also contact details being available for residents in case they've got issues and complaints and want to pick it up with the applicant directly.
Yeah.
Is there anything else I've left off, Amanda?
There should be no more than 4 smokers at the front of the premises.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then the dispersal policy condition is there shall be a written dispersal policy, a copy of which shall be kept on the premises and made available to the police or other authorised officers upon request. So that's the condition for dispersal.
So Caesar, did you hear that? Did you hear that, Caesar? Hello?
Also, there is in that wording, it's not in there, but there is a requirement for the applicant to submit a dispersal policy for approval by the licensing authority and then maintain it at the premises.
Right. Did you hear all that, Caesar?
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that sounds okay to you, does it?
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Brilliant.
Okay. I think we've got all the conditions.
Okay. Well, look, thank you very much, B3 and Caesar and everyone else.
Thank you.
For getting through this. I think you're correct that we need these conditions on board. I'm surprised they weren't in there before, frankly, but there we are. That's what it is. Final clarifications very briefly, because we have been through it and through it and through it. Just one more opportunity to make sure we're all happy. Brilliant. Well, look, thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, I just want to say one thing, if I may. I get a lot of this residents' contact details. I can contact them. It sounds reasonable, but I have to say that if I have got to contact a licensee, then they've already failed. I don't really want to get involved in the management of all of these premises in the area because there are too many. What we need is some enforceable conditions, some enforcement officers. In fact, any official in the special policy area after 11 p.m. would be most gratefully received. Many thanks.
Okay, thank you, Mr. B3. And thank you, everyone else.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We will now go away and consider this, and you'll hear tomorrow or within 5 working days.
Yeah, the applicant can obtain details. Thank you.
How many days I need to wait for?
You can find out the decision tomorrow morning through the licensing officer if you contact the licensing service. Otherwise, the decision should be available after 5 working days.
All right, so I'll contact the licensing officer. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.